I will call this meeting of the Pawtucket School Committee to order at 6:01. Ms. Liz, please take a roll call.
Ms. Pinello.
Here.
Mr. Charbonneau.
Here.
Mr. Marino.
Here.
Ms. Doobie.
Here, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first on the agenda, we have special reports of student representatives. Do we have anyone here from Charles E. Shea High School? Hi.
High school committee meeting. My name is Catherine Obrey. I am a 12th grader at Shea High School and I will be representing Shea. Here are Shea happenings. We have held our FAFSA appointments for our seniors with College Planning Center. We have held an awesome Spirit Week in October for our students and staff. It was clear that the spirit was running rampant at Shea. Our guidance department continues to share information daily about career opportunities in Ring colleges and universities during our advisory periods. The freshman class officers' applications were due and are underway with voting. Many of our students worked the polls for the election, civics, and action. Our students are being encouraged to enroll in our ACN Advanced Course Network for the spring of 2023. Key Club is very active. They are holding a fall food drive and collecting for UNICEF to assist in creating homes for these in need in Zambia. And they also have started a tutoring and homework club that was in action today. Student council is in full swing with elections and organizing. We have held our picture day on November 7th with Mare Studios. RaiderBots, our robotics teams, are working collaboratively for upcoming competitions. Our new club, the Shea Multilingual Ambassador Club, has organized and is in the middle of beautifying our grounds by planting a garden. Thanks to the club and Mr. De Silva, Ms. Pezza, and Ms. Marchetti. Sports news. Football has an upcoming Thanksgiving game against Tolman, November 22nd on Tuesday at 6 p.m. We also have held our grade 8 open house on Tuesday, November 1st. We have met many interested middle school students. Our CTE programming was on display, as well as our grade 9 academic club, our academic programming, and our extracurricular activities. Our own culinary students prepared and served the food for the evening. They made sweet potato canopies, which is roasted sweet potatoes topped with goat cheese, cranberry coulisses, and microgreens, pot roast and sage potatoes, slow cooked pot roast served over garlic and sage mashed potatoes, and they drank a homemade apple cider spritzer, and it was delicious. We also held our first dance in a long time. Our homecoming dance was attended by 230 students who danced the night away. A special thanks to our first class advisors, Ms. Borden and Ms. Chella, for organizing the event, along with our 2023 class officers, Catherine Obrey, Zachary Pinto, Charlton Ramos, and Evan Stratus. We'd never be able to hold this event without our chaperones, Ms. Lemaire, Ms. Walker, Ms. Hurley, Ms. Babcock, Mr. Flaherty, Ms. Fasteson, Mr. Matuzik, Ms. Ronayne, Mr. Gonzalez, Chef King, Mr. Wire, Mr. Jones, Mr. Carvalho, Mrs. Acevedo, Mr. Cordero, and Dr. Ash. And thank you to our SRO, Ty Corrales, and our awesome custodial staff. A huge shout out to the students who represented Shea at our annual Red Ribbon Week rally. Our Shea team combined from the international dance team and our after school music club and our Speak Life and More Slam community to form a super group that took the first place trophy for all high schools from the city, beating Tolman and Jacqueline Walsh. Shout out to our students, Catherine, Matilda, Nayeli, Damie, Maria, Alan, Nazari, Christian, and Grisette. You make us all proud. We can, we will, we are Shea High is our motto, and we definitely went home and beat it. Heavy machinery has been brought to Shea, and scaffolding has begun to take place today for the casing issue. We were all wondering when our auditorium will be fixed. We have been without the auditorium stage for 3 years and do not have use of the seating. In closing, on behalf of the Shea students and staff, I would like to wish you all a happy Raider Thanksgiving, and thank you. That's all.
Do we have a representative here from William E. Tolman High School?
Hello, my name is Ivy Parr. I'm a senior at Tolman High. So for what's happening at Tolman, Tolman had held its first pep rally in 3 years on October 14th. The event marked the end of a great spirit week as we all wished for all our fall sports if well with their season. Our homecoming dance was held on Saturday evening, October 15th. This was the best attended dance we have held at Tolman in the last 11 years. The final attendance was slightly over 300 students. The students had a great time and raised a lot of money for our juniors and our senior classes. Tolman hosted a military appreciation football game on October 21st. The festivities actually started the night before with a pasta dinner. The ceremonies was very inspirational and the Tigers cruised to a victory over Tollgate. Tolman hosted an open house for prospective students on Wednesday, November 2nd. The event was well attended and showcased all the exciting opportunities that Tolman has to offer. We had the opportunity to showcase our band, chorus, JRTC program, as well as the outstanding interscholastic sports programs at our school. Tolman held its first FAFSA night of the year on November 9th. We will be conducting several FAFSA nights over the next few months to help our students and families navigate this process. The Tolman Color Guard and several other cadets took time last Friday to help honor our nation's veterans participating in ceremonies organized by the city of Pawtucket. Tomorrow afternoon, the Tolman JRTC program will be celebrating the 247th birthday of the United States Marine Corps. This is an annual tradition and that takes place in the Tolman Auditorium. This year's honoree is Sergeant Augustino Lascola, father of the Tolman High School teacher and girls soccer coach, AJ Lascola. That's pretty much all I have on my hat. Thank you.
And we have a representative from Jacqueline M. Walsh School for Performing and Visual Arts.
Hi, my name is Princess Afia, and I am a senior video and film major at the Jacqueline M. Walsh School for the Arts. We had a very busy October at JMW. We held our current student open house and Chromebook distribution, as well as our prospective student open house. Both events had a great turnout, and we are excited to see new applications for next school year coming in. Student Council hosted a Pink Out Day for breast cancer awareness, a spirit week, and a Halloween dance. Our mock trial team kicked off their season with a win over Central High School. Their next trial is the first week in December. They enjoyed being able to compete in person this year as opposed to over Zoom. Our junior and senior theater majors attended their first professional show of the year at the GAM and enjoyed a talkback and Q&A with the actors. It was an exciting few weeks for our dance majors. First, Ashley Pavin, principal ballerina from the State Ballet of Rhode Island, presented to the students in preparation for their upcoming trip to see Copiella, which a few of our own dancers are in. This was followed by a masterclass and workshop with the Bill T. Jones and Arnie Zane Dance Company. 3 of our students, Ryan Andela, Katrina Theft, and Leah Grant, were all selected to perform in the company during the performance at the Vets. First Works helped to make all of this possible and even ensured any student and their families who wanted to attend the show could do so at no cost. For 2 weeks, our Honors Club, which is a group of students who are in the National Honor Society, held roundtable discussions with Dr. McWilliams and also Congressman David Cicilline. And lastly today, our junior and senior film majors went to the New England Institute of Technology and participated in workshops on digital media, graphics and gaming, and visited the esports lab. Some upcoming events at JMW are Rhode Island Women in Trades presentation and panel discussion this coming Friday, mock trial's second trial against Mount St. Charles, a dance field trip to see Rhode Island Ballet's Copiella. We will also be preparing to attend the Junior Achievement Inspire Days, where our arts teachers and some students will represent JMW. Applications for incoming 9th graders are due December 9th, and auditions will be held in January. And lastly, we are looking forward to our winter culmination performance, which will be held December 20th. Thank you and happy Thanksgiving.
Okay. Thank you to our students. Next on the agenda is public participation. Ms. Lispy, if anyone signed up? Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda, we have Aramark presentation, and I see Aramark here, so.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm Josh Brosher. I'm the general manager with Aramark here in Pawtucket. So I put together a presentation just to recap the 2021-2022 school year. So just wanted to go through some of the achievements that we accomplished and some of the ongoing items that we've supplied through the district. So as we review, just a quick agenda: our summer food service program innovation, local food ambassador tastings, our Eat Local challenge last year, community involvement, which is something we take pride in, and our National School Breakfast Week, as well as the surplus that we have from last school year, where it's going this year and back into the program. So looking at our summer food service program, we have the second busiest in the state. Going back to last June, we were chosen by RIDE to host the annual statewide kickoff barbecue for summer meals. So we took great pride in that. We put it together in partnership with Parks and Rec at Slater Park. Had a good turnout for that. We had 2 grills going, an extensive menu with four hot options, as well as giving away our weekend bags, which were still taking place at that time. We also increased our community feeding outreach with 4 transit vans for mobile feeding. So we were able to serve outside of the schools specifically and go into the community, keep that going throughout the summer. So that was a big push for our summer meals. Looking at our local food ambassador tastings, that's something we continue to push at our elementary schools. Our chef manager gets very creative with those. Her recipe, she's on maternity leave right now, so congratulations to her, but with her recipes using local ingredients in partnership with Farm Fresh Rhode Island and the Rhode Island Healthy Schools Coalition to get volunteers for that, work with the community outreach coordinators, and get volunteers at those schools. So that's just a display of what she has. Also happy to help whenever needed. So that dolphin right there was at Agnes Little. That was myself. That mascot came in that morning and working with Emily Malozzi. She asked if I would do it because the parent did not show up. I said, sure, why not? So happy to do it. The kids were excited, and that's what we're all about. So that's a good program we have within district. Our Eat Local challenge. So last year around Thanksgiving, the week before, I challenged my team in a weekly manager meeting, and I said, let's take it to a whole nother level. Let's get 100% local ingredients from produce, scratch cooking. The turkeys were local as well. So that's what went into it. It was a good community involvement day as well. You can see some of the principals carving and serving. Dr. McWilliams was at Jenks serving the sign there. So we just wanted to make it pop throughout the district. All the signs that were at the secondary schools were specific to that school. It went, where do we get the product from? The mileage directly from farm to school. So that was a good turnout that we had. Kids were happy with the meals. Given supply chain and everything, it's not happening this November, just not possible to get the products we need to the scale. So we're going to do a 100% Eat Local challenge this spring in some capacity to some menu items. So looking forward to that. But again, a great opportunity that we had last November. Our outreach community involvement, again, it's something that myself, Tara, my team, and then even our our early employees take pride in being a part of this community. So some examples of that: Cozy program, Breakfast with Santa. We work closely with Jane Blanchett in that program. So that's something we did last year, something we're doing again. We saw an increase in participation with that. We added little prizes to the goodie bags and the grab and go breakfast that we did last year and then throughout COVID. Increasing local purchasing. So we pledged, it was new this year, but we pledged with RIDE and the state of Rhode Island to serve certain local ingredients so many times per week, so many times per month. So that's something we're taking part in. Last year, it's something we tracked. So I keep a spreadsheet for all the local purchasing that we do take part in, whether it be produce, meats, or baked goods. So that's something that we pushed. Speaking of which, So in working with Parks and Rec, like I said, for the summer food service program, going into last summer, Larry Holloway, who we work closely with at Payne Park and San Bento with his basketball program, didn't have sponsors for 2 teams. So we do a dress down fund, again, community. We keep it, our staff to wear jeans on Fridays. We take that funding. We use that to sponsor 2 basketball teams for Larry, so the kids had, were able to participate for the summer. Usage, dress down, so that's what we do as well. So if a school reaches out to us, one of my leads, and says, a teacher's going through something or students going through something, we take that money, we donate it and we give it back, based on needs, just to give back. And then our Baldwin Back to School Bash. So that's something Tara actually took ownership of. We were able to, procure all donations for that and really make the event special. And that was their, again, going back to last school year, their kickoff for the final year at Baldwin. So just some examples of community involvement. What we do also, to make it special, take it to a whole nother level. Last Christmas, right before Christmas, we thanked our staff with a holiday brunch, hot food, baked goods, special signage for them. They like their dress down shirts, so we gave them some of those. That was a good opportunity. In transition program, our chef manager, Nicole, who's out, taught food safety classes to the transition program over at the admin building. NEASC, so we had Shay and Tolman host NEASC this past school year. What could we do to make it special? We started at Shay, and again, working closely with Nicole, we created, an online ordering system that we do with the elementary schools. We had a QR code in the packet for the NEASC members when they visited, and then we, custom made the menus and items hot that day, delivered it. They were blown away. We did the same thing at Tolman, and now we kind of set the standard for that. So I'm sure they're telling all their, surrounding districts as they visit, while, Aramark and Pawtucket did this for us. So we're happy to do that. National School Breakfast Week. So every March is National School Breakfast Week, with the push being breakfast in any capacity that we can supply it. So last year, we prepared nearly 3,000 scratch-made smoothies, featuring local ingredients in Jenks in our production kitchen. We bottled them up here. We did everything we had to do, and we got those out. Those were successful. So the smoothie program is something still up and going, but we're doing those sporadically throughout the district. Featured 100% local items for the entire week at breakfast for the grain and fruit component. So that was something that we were able to push and procure at the time. And then prizes given daily to students, as they got breakfast in the classroom or in the cafeteria. Those are all Aramark based. That's marketing, comes directly from corporate. So we're able to get enough of those for all students throughout the elementary schools. And then, as you know, with all meals being free last year, we had a bit of a surplus for the program for the second year in a row. So this is where the funding is going. So Winters Elementary Kitchen Smallwares, we have a beautiful new kitchen at Winters, which we're going to turn some production from Jenks into Winters, trying to get it out of here. But with that, all smallwares, as far as pans, tongs, everything like that, that was procured and opened up for the new kitchen. District-wide equipment upgrades, that is just about done being delivered throughout the district. Warmers, hot wells, getting everything new. A lot of it was old equipment, so we're able to, really do what we need to do out there. Goff and Slater Middle School serving line renovations. That's in the pre-bid stage, but we have great ideas for Goff and Slater Middle Schools to upgrade their serving lines. And then point of sale hardware and software updates. All the registers are getting completely updated, and then a new point of sale system called Mosaic from NutriKids, which I think will make life a lot easier for any reporting and at the point of sale itself. But all in all, just trying to put the surplus back into the program, so that way the students see what's going into the program, making sure they're nourished, and everything like that. So thank you for letting us be a part of Pawtucket. It's been great. I've enjoyed my almost 4 years here. Tara's been around the longest, and I know she's just happy to be here. So there's my contact information. I think all of you have it anyways, but just thank you for letting me present tonight. Great.
Mr. Charbonneau.
Just a comment, Josh. I think you and your team have clearly built this program over the 4 years you've been here. I think you do a great job. You've been very flexible and accommodating. My only ask would be that we work more closely with the superintendent's office and Drew to get some of these things out there, because some of this stuff, I may have seen it before, but some of it seemed like it was new to me. And I think for all the good work that we do collectively, let's let people know about it.
Ms. Vanilla?
I just have a question, but thank you very much. I know you've worked really hard getting all this stuff done, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to show us what you've done, because as Mr. Charbonneau said, a lot goes on behind the scenes that we don't see because we're not in the schools all the time. Where are your vans now? Are you still using them?
We're still using vans, mostly to transit meals, throughout the district, and any add-ons we have at our schools. We're unable to serve, in the apartment complexes and things like that, given the transition away and back into the school breakfast program and national school lunch program. You're welcome.
Thank you so much
All right,
for the
you're welcome.
presentation. Next on the agenda, we have approval of previous meeting minutes 10/27/22 and 10/31/22. Then a motion approved by Ms. Vinalo is seconded by Ms. Marino. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries 4-0. New budget, new business discussion action items, approval of budget transfers. What was she? Oh, we have none. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. The next item is Shea Emergency Repairs, review, discuss, and act on proposal from East Coast Masonry.
Committee members, before I begin, I'd also Baldwin Bash last year with the design team showcasing some of the early schematic design, and you did a great job. She was dressed up as a fox. They left that part out, but I have a picture if anyone wants to see after the meeting. Before you tonight, the first item is to recommend approval of proposal from East Coast Masonry out of Johnson, Rhode Island for the Shea Masonry Repairs Project. As this committee is aware, Colliers was directed to investigate some issues with masonry over at Shea. After our investigation and consulting with the architects, it was determined that there was some emergency work that did need to be completed up on the roof parapet around the building. To that end, we spoke with legal counsel and engaged asked East Coast Masonry to provide a proposal for this work. They are on the MPA and they are currently engaged by the district on the Potter Burns Elementary School project, which we've had great success last summer with. The proposal before you today is a not to exceed proposal in the amount of $394,000. What is included within that proposal is providing protective netting all around the parapet until they get the stones off. That netting is in place. Providing protected entrances so that the students have protected entrances when they come in. It is the removal of all the stones, the storage of the decorative stones that are in good condition off-site. The original proposal did call for it to be stored on-site. However, investigations and talking to school committee members, they said, let's get it off-site. So those stones are being stored off-site. And then once those stones are removed, they're going to be making that parapet wall weather tight, which should give you a 5 or 6 year, possibly even longer, while its decision is made regarding Shea's future. My recommendation tonight is that the Pawtucket School Committee award general contracting services for the Shea Emergency Masonry Repairs Project to East Coast Masonry in the not to exceed amount of $394,000.
A motion approved by Ms. Vanilla, seconded by Mr. Moreno. Ms. Vanilla?
So if you look at East Coast, the next to last item says the precast capstones in an area on site to be identified by the owner.
The owner identified a place off site. It just was not feasible. We were worried about them getting damaged. We were worried about them getting in the way of teacher parking and things like that. There's not a lot of parking space at that school to begin with. So once that was all determined on site with the contractor, we said they're going to be staying in your yard until we call back from them.
Could you send us clarification on that in
I can.
writing? So
Sure. I'll have it come from the masonry contractor.
thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, Ms. Listy, please take a roll call.
Ms. Pinello. Mr. Charbonneau.
Yes.
Mr. Marino. Ms. Doobie.
Yes, the motion carries 4-0. Okay, thank you. The next item is Facilities Equity Initiative. Review, discuss, and act on submission to RIDE School Building Authority. Thank you.
Good evening. So before you this evening is the Facilities Equity Initiative 2. Last year, RIDE original release, it was a pilot year where they distributed $10 million in funding, and of which Pawtucket was awarded $4.3 million, and those projects are currently underway and getting ready to wrap up. In its second year, RIDE has expanded the program to $30 million. It's expanded to 10 districts instead of 5 districts that are eligible. After receiving this opportunity for the second time, we immediately went to work. The superintendent, both assistant superintendents, facilities director, assistant facilities director, and myself, in discussing some of the projects that we thought may have been well suited for this, including 2 of the projects that were previously submitted and not selected. Last time it was the Facilities Equity #1 in its pilot year was a possibility of 100% funding. However, this year, if you commit to 15% MBE, we may be eligible for up to 10% additional reimbursement. So there's no possibility of 100% funding this year, but pretty close. We're at 82.285%, and an additional 10% if we meet the 15% MBE, which is our goal. We would maximize at 92.285. The selected projects estimated to be in the range budget of $8.4 million. Can fit in the tight timeline as follows. And when I say tight timeline, the application does have an additional few months, because last year's application gave us until this December, and this application is going to allow us to go until June of 2024. So it's a little bit longer. I think they know that the lead times on things have been extended, but the timeline is really tight. And I have mentioned this to RIDE, and so they're aware. They just, again, they don't want to leave it open for too many months. They want people to move on these projects. So the plan is the Baldwin Outdoor Learning and Community Spaces estimated at $1.8 million. A resubmission of both Slater and Jenks auditoriums estimated at $2.3 and $2.2 million respectively. Cunningham Playground estimated at $1.2 million, and Curtis Playground estimated at $850,000. In group discussion, the first priority is the Baldwin Outdoor Learning and Community Project. This is to support the new construction. The second would be the Slater Auditorium renovation. The third, the Jenks Auditorium renovation. The fourth would be the Cunningham Playground, and the fifth would be Curtis Playground. So RIDE requires us to put a priority order. And again, we have these applications before you. We're recommending these projects and requesting any input and your approval to submit to the Rhode Island Department of Education. The reason we bring it before you today is these applications are due to RIDE on December 1st, which is before the next meeting. So this was the last possible meeting. But again, the applications are attached with the presentation order priority, the estimated costs and pictures, and also a sample survey and the construction timeline in some cases.
The motion approved by Ms. Pinello is seconded by Mr. Charbonneau. Mr. Charbonneau.
Melissa, just one question on the Baldwin timeline. Substantially complete by June of 24?
So that is, again, and I can let Chris speak to that, because obviously we know that the Baldwin new construction, what is the last task that's usually done is the playground.
Right.
So that is one of the questions if RIDE does select that to be part of the facilities equity, where we would ask them what do they consider substantially complete? Like, could we have the ground laid? Like, in other words, we know that that's the last part. You can't possibly
find a different mechanism if this doesn't.
correct. We'll have this. So if RIDE does not select, which this is the first priority, if this is not selected, we'll have to go back to RIDE and figure out, again, after the recently passed bond, we have major approval that are sitting out there. Maybe it's a reallocation. I think that if they are going to approve something like this, it's our first priority, so we have a better chance. But again, there's always that chance that they may say you can't be substantially complete. So we're not sure.
Okay.
Melissa, can you just, I've been flipping through a few times. What was the pot of money that was for the whole state for this one?
So it's 30 million this time.
Oh, so it was, okay.
It was originally 10 million for 5 districts,
But
and now it's 30
More
million.
districts, correct?
There's 10 districts now with 30 million, so,
Okay.
and we did get 4.3 last time.
But am I correct that the previous pot of money was 5 districts, and all 5 districts, it was going to be 100% free for them to do the project if they had the MBE participation?
Correct, and now it's only an
And now
additional
it's-
10%.
And now for all 10 districts, it's only a 10%
Additional
increase.
10%, correct.
An
So,
additional 10 points. So for districts that, so it
45.
might not be as enticing for some districts.
correct, because it would be from, instead of a 40, like, so it's allowing districts that have at least a 45% reimbursement of housing aid. So the most that they would get if they meet the MBE is 55%.
Yeah. And so have you had conversations to know if this number we're going in for, the 8.4 million of that 30 million pot seems to be a reason? I know we went in big last time. We just said, why don't we just try for it all and see if other people don't
Mhm.
get proposals in?
So I think this time, because of the timeline and how long and how much work is going on out there, I think that 8.4 would be a good spot. I can let Colliers speak to that, but the timeline is so tight. Even some of these projects in here were a little bit, I'm definitely going to keep on RIDE saying, is there any room for going beyond that June date of 2024? Because the lead times are astronomical right now. So I think 8.4 rather than what we did last time. When we first put that last application in, lead times were long, but there weren't as many districts. There were only 5 that were allowed, and of those 5, 2 didn't have approvals on plan, so they were only allowed $500,000 apiece.
Mhm.
So right there, that was only $1 million of the 10. But again, I think 8.4 is reasonable. We talked about it. We spoke with Colliers, who helped us with this, and if you look inside the packet, there's a construction timeline, and you can see that they're pretty tight.
Yeah, I just think that all 5 of these are really important projects. And
Absolutely.
I know that, especially the Slater and Jenks auditoriums,
Mhm.
Goff has had a new auditorium for quite several years. Our 2 other middle schools really, to have equity would be great. Okay. There's been a motion to approve. Okay. Ms. Lissy, please take a roll call.
Ms. Bonello? Yes. Mr. Charbonneau?
Yes.
Mr. Marino? Ms. Doobie?
Yes, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, we have Everyone's Playground Review, Discuss, and Act on proposing Colliers project leaders. I know at the, not last meeting, but 2 meetings ago, we had our presentation. We spoke about the Everyone's Playground. I know Ms. Grant, who's very passionate about this, does know that this is on the agenda tonight and was unable to be here. So are you taking this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first contract proposal before you is the Colliers leaders to be the OPM for this Everyone's Playground. The project is estimated to be between 10 and 14,000 square feet. dependent on the estimated budget. Colliers has submitted a proposal to service as the playground owner's project manager, excuse me, based on Rhode Island MPA number 430 award. The pricing for Colliers services is $49,362 or 3.8% of the estimated project budget of 1.299.
My motion approved by Ms. Manola, seconded by Mr. Charbonneau. Mr. Marino, any discussion?
You know who will be managing it?
That's,
I'm sorry, managing,
Will it still be Holly?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, seeing no further discussion. Ms. Liscy, please take a roll call.
Ms. Manolo.
Yes.
Mr. Charbonneau.
Yes.
Ms. Marino.
Yes.
Ms. Doobie.
Yes. The next is review, discuss, and approve Garland and Garish Architects proposal.
Okay, so Gardner and Garish is liability corporation has submitted a proposal with prices from the Rhode Island MPA contract number 494. The fee services is $10,810 plus reimbursable. This pricing is in addition to $7,800 paid for by the city from the CDBG grant for work already started. Any unforeseen site conditions would be part of supplemental costs at rates provided in the proposal. And landscape architect would be $147 an hour. CAD drafting is $82 an hour. Secretary clerical is $45 an hour. At this time, we are not aware of any conditions to the site that would require to do the additional work.
And a motion to approve by Ms. Manola, seconded by Mr. Charbonneau. Ms. Marino, any discussion? Ms. Manola and Mr. Charbonneau.
Have we decided, or has it been decided, where the balance of the grant will be applied?
So what, when in the last conversation is, so the $7,800 would complete out and close short the original contract that Gardner and Garish had. So that would be done. It's already paid for services that he's already done for work. We'll continue forward because the grant is, the CDBG grant is $200,000. So as we go along, we'll start submitting the invoices that come in for OPM, for construction, but that has to be bid by the architect. So we'll go in order and draw down from the CDBG grant, plus wait to hear from Ryback if we're going to be able to transfer the $99,000. But we'll do the CDBG grant first.
Okay, thank you.
Melissa, we're not aware of any conditions to the site. So the soft surface play is gonna go over the asphalt, or are we so we're digging up the asphalt?
Mhm.
Have we tested that?
No, that's right. No, nothing has been tested over there at this point. So in order to put that play space down, you do have to remove the tar. And again, Holly couldn't be here tonight, sorry, but I don't know if Chris or Derek have any, do they typically remove the tarred area prior to putting the soft surface on the playground?
So yeah, they would remove it, but generally, if there is a condition such as OCs, they would require you to absolutely. So you would be putting that surface back on top of it, which is what this design calls for, is to put on the surface so that anything cannot get above the surface.
So it's not conceivable that we end up with an issue like we had at Winters, where we start to excavate and find out, oh, wait a minute, we got to truck $1 million worth of the soil off this site before we put the playground in.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Derek Maloney from Colliers. So I've been doing this for 35 years in Rhode Island, and it's pretty common. Most contractors right now, before they ever start a project, they'll do their own soil testing to determine if anything is present. I'm sure Gilbane did that before they started. I'm sure Chalmette is going to do it before they start the new school. So it's pretty common. It's also pretty common to have, there's a lot of material that Rhode Island DEM determines to be hazardous, quote unquote hazardous, not unlike what happened at the other site.
Right, but,
Yeah.
so what I'm saying is, are we gonna get in a situation, we budgeted 200,000 for soil remediation at Winters, and it cost us $1 million.
Is $1.3 million that we've approved, but we don't even know
The ground
we're putting it on.
So we would have to come back before committee should we run into an issue. I mean, maybe if you run into some issue such as that, then it would be an alternate change. There would be no way of knowing without hiring somebody to test the soil.
Right, and I guess my concern is, in short order, the children are gonna know what's happening at that school.
Mhm.
I just don't wanna raise everybody's expectations and then find out that we got a problem there.
Mhm.
We should make plans to address, at least figure out what we're dealing with beneath the surface.
Correct, and in order to do that, we would have to hire the architect who, in the OPM, so we can actually get those services done. That should be the first thing done.
The excavation, this equipment is pretty shallow. So it's, the amount of disturbance
Oh.
is generally negligible. It's not like what turning the whole entire site upside down.
That's the issue, is when you excavate deep foundations or for boiler rooms or things like that, you're disturbing large amounts of soil.
Yeah.
It's just this, you're literally just scraping it off and you're putting another absolutely surface right on top of it. So the risk, it's not the same risk as you have with, as an example, of our soil testing and everything at Baldwin, in the areas that we have found something, we've already worked it out with DEM, that we're gonna do just that. We're gonna put asphalt on top of it, where we strategically place parking lots, so that it basically remediates the issue.
Do we know how old the tar is in that play area? It looked pretty new to me. I mean, I don't know how long ago that's done. Anybody know? 15 years. Looks good to me.
Excellent. Ms. Vanilla, do you have another question? Mrs. Charbonneau, are you good with your questions?
I just want to make sure that the children are playing on top of a surface that is not going to cause them any further distress.
Absolutely, and we will ensure that we get that testing done as soon as possible. I will bring that right back to Holly and say, we need to do this ASAP.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The covering of the playground, is that a porous or is that actually sealed?
It's a poor rubberized surface there's layers of it. So, yes.
So it's
porous
sealed.
in layers, but when you have multiple layers on top of each other, it becomes
Sealed.
a sealed surface.
Okay.
It's poured much like asphalt is poured. It's just small pieces of rubber as opposed to pieces of petroleum.
Thank you. And a motion to approve has been seconded. Trustee Christie, roll call.
Ms. Manolo. Yes. Mr. Charbonneau.
Yes.
Ms. Marino.
Yes.
Ms. Doobie.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Our next item is also on this review to discuss
Approve O'Brien and Sons Playground Equipment Proposal.
And O'Brien and Sons is playground equipment. Their proposal is submitted with pricing. It's a quote. It's from the Massachusetts Higher Education Consortium, the MHEC contract. The equipment cost with the discount and freight is $282,286.30. No installation is included. Installation is intended to be part of the general contractor's agreement to be determined and recommended at a later date. If the school committee approves this evening, the lead time is estimated at approximately 25 weeks from in-hand Pawtucket School purchase order. Color palette has been selected, but at this point, some changes or a sprinkle of color may be added up until the PO is issued. So basically, what you have here is it will take 25 weeks to order the equipment once they get the purchase order. The color palette been narrowed down. Mrs. Grant and Mrs. Vanolo had looked at some color samples. However, I think that there was comment about it being just a little bland, but what the vendor said, if they are approved, before they do the ordering, they will check to see if there's some sprinkle of color somewhere to put into it. Yeah, yeah. So if you look at it, the colors, the colors that are in the packet are in the metal gray with some blues, and if they wanted to sprinkle some yellow in there, or if they wanted to sprinkle a little green. I know there was some talk about the play surface area underneath the equipment to be like green to represent grass. So maybe there's another color that they want to, maybe the knobs on something, or the I don't know what those things are called, the drums. There's like 5 or 6 drums. Every other one can be a different color, just to throw a little more color in it. You don't want to have, like they said, you don't want to have any more than 4 colors in a playground of this size.
Did we have a motion on this?
I don't know.
No. Motion approved by Ms. Manolo, seconded by Mr. Marino. Mr. Charbonneau, do you have a question?
Just, Melissa, so the equipment itself, $250,000, right?
Yeah, 200, yeah.
Almost 300,000.
282.
Where am I missing? Where do we get the $1.3 million from?
So you have to hire a general contractor still. That
Right.
These are only the OPM. So there would be installation, then you have to do the, the general contractor is going to be a considerable amount.
I would have thought the larger portion of the bid would have gone to equipment that the students and the children can use.
Correct, but also not in this equipment is the lighting, the cameras, the benches, this equipment is actual, just the play equipment that came off the Massachusetts side. So you have all of the benches that they want to put in place, you have the lighting, you have the landscape, you have security cameras that you have to purchase.
Right, no, I get it, but am I looking at it wrong that?
It
for
could
$1
be
million-
under, it could
for
be under $1
$1.3
million. So
million,
we thought the original budget for the equipment, we thought it was going to be close to 400,000, and it came in at, with the discount off this.
So we originally thought the play equipment was gonna be 400,000. Now, it could be, if you would add, and you can come back and see what you're saying, once it's laid out, there's really more room. But this is none of the other things other than just the play equipment and no
Installation. Usually installation is like just as much. Like if
How
you,
did we get to the $1.3 million number if we budgeted 400 or 500,000 for the, in other words, we're
I
gonna
don't-
keep the $1.3 million total cost, but the equipment itself came in a couple of $100,000.
right, I mean, we'll adjust the budget and just finish it under budget. So there was I don't have it with me, I'm sorry, but when we approved the playground at the last meeting to move forward, there was a budget sheet in there and it listed everything out for all the. Absolutely, yeah.
Thanks, I'm sure we can find it.
All right, I'm not looking to trim the budget, I'm just saying maybe there's an opportunity to add more equipment.
Right.
Because to spend $300,000 on the equipment and $1 million prepping the surface.
Right.
To be out of balance.
It may be under. So one of the things, if I may, is, and Mrs. Vanolo, please jump in. There was talk about they didn't want to overload too much equipment because there are some children that like to go around and play on that surface, even though they're equipment. They may want to do some other little sport event on that area. So there's going to be enough room for them to maneuver because not everybody wants to be on a piece of equipment. So in fairness, yes, I completely understand. I'll get that back out to you. I thought it was like $380,000, almost $400,000 for equipment that was planned in the budget. But again, it doesn't mean that we might come and say, hey, we need to put some down, or some kids like to. I know that Joanne had found something that was similar to a hopscotch, but it had all sayings and stuff like that, rather than just the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So I think that Maybe this will be something that comes in under budget and we won't spend the 1.2, but we're definitely not going to spend it if it's warranted. And we're definitely going to ensure that there's enough play equipment for everyone as well as enough space.
So O'Brien, they're not the same people whose book we looked through.
Yes, they are.
They are?
Mhm.
Because we didn't order any chill spinners, and they've got 2 of them in here, and then they've got a few other things in here that,
Right, and that was to fill in the space, and we had that last conversation that there was a couple of items that they said that they needed to put in because it was not going to be full, and so what they did is they added the post in. There was a couple of different items. I think the item that's on the sheet, I don't know what it's called, but it's the one to the left. It's at the top to the left. I'm looking at the right sheet. I think that's called the chill spinner. Then it's all the way
yeah,
to
and
the
it
right.
says they have 2 of them.
They're charging us for 2 of them. Well, they're not gonna charge us for anything that they don't put in. I won't let that happen, And, it's on that estimate. I did look at it and it did look fine. I went through it.
But I don't know, maybe that's not the chill spinner. Hold on. Let me just look. I got the words here.
It is the chill spinner, but they said that there was 2 of them. The one that's next to the chill spinner is handicapped accessible, where a wheelchair can be put right inside and they can all go around. We had excluded the chill spinner because kids dropping off it. I am an overprotective mom.
Hold on, I'm looking for the chill spinner. Hang on.
You and I are on that chill spinner.
Hold on, I'm just looking. I'm looking at the pictures.
It's not in the pictures. I mean, I put.
I see one in the picture. Yeah,
Okay.
but that's what they call a chill spinner. But anyways, can you and I meet and go
Sure.
over,
Absolutely.
because I don't want to be charged for what we don't want.
Oh, I won't let that happen. Don't you worry.
And you know the thing where the kids can do the hands and the feet at the same time we talked about?
Mhm.
And then the
Yep.
one next to it was for handicapped accessible where they could just use
Yep.
their hands. Well, that's not in here.
That's the cycler, which is right here. See, it's not-
Yeah, but that's not attached to the one. Remember how we talked about putting them together so we could
Yeah.
have
Mhm.
the otherwise able
Absolutely.
child? And
Mhm. Yes,
because those things were important.
absolutely.
Because where they have that
Mhm.
has totally excluded
Mhm.
that handicapped child from being in contact with everybody
Mhm.
else.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, we can certainly look at this before. Again, it's 25 weeks from when the order is placed, so.
okay, so I have a good schedule. So let me
Excellent.
know when you're,
Yeah, no, I'm there every day. I'm just out. I'm out next week.
I'm not.
Melissa, can you just clarify? I see the freight charge here.
Mhm.
Page, it says prices do not include shipping charges.
Yeah, it said if you, I saw the same
Sorry,
thing, but
did I
if you
not read far
continue
enough?
on, if they're not, yeah, right, it says, because I was like, all right,
Is noted, is that why?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
noted,
it's,
so it is included.
it's in there. yeah.
Got it, thank you.
I did the same thing, I mean, I did. I was like, why?
Okay.
There are shipping charges.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Still looking at the chill spinners. No further discussion, take a roll call. Thank you.
Ms. Danilo. Mr. Charbonneau. Mr. Marino. Ms. Doobie.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have discussion items. We have a status update on ESSER 3 capital improvements. Oh, I'm sorry, life safety plan of action. My apologies. Review, discuss, and act on proposal from Studio Jade.
Again.
Good evening.
Colliers Project Leaders was asked to prepare an RFP for architectural and engineering services to address miscellaneous life safety plan of action concerns at Shea, Tolman, Jenks, and Slater. And we solicited proposals from 5 of the qualified firms that are on the House Doctor list. 2 architects responded, and through negotiation and review of the proposals, we are making a recommendation to accept Studio Jade's proposal of $63,200.
Have you worked with them before?
Have I worked with Studio Jade?
Yeah.
Not the firm personally, but some of the people that have worked there, yes.
I know that they have.
Put in proposals with us before and didn't get chosen. But I like their work.
Yeah.
Do they have time?
Yeah, that was one of the discussions we talked with. Actually, the 3 firms did not have time to do the project. So the 2 that did, we were very clear and asked them both.
And Jade works a lot in
If-
Providence too, right?
Exactly, that's
So
primarily the base of work, yeah.
Studio Jade is a multi-state firm. They're a very large firm.
Okay, so no further questions. Ms. Liz, please take a roll call. Sorry, I was very legal.
Ms. Manolo?
Yes.
Mr. Charbonneau?
Yes.
Mr. Marino?
Yes.
Ms. Juby?
Yes, motion carries 4-0. Okay, so now we're on to status update, SR3 capital improvements.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I wanted to bring before you to provide you with some information regarding construction projects that are funded through ESSA. If you recall, when we submitted our ESSA, we have close to $8 million in projects, 4 major ones, and 2 have already been started in the process. As you know, the ADA enhanced bathrooms, which you've already selected an architect for, and those are on their way. And then the golf windows, which we also have an architect on board for. I wanted to let you know that the cost estimates at this time for those windows for glazing are coming in quite high. And although Colliers will be moving forward with a bid so that we can actually secure and find out what the actual costs are, then at that time we'll probably want to reassess depending on what those costs are. The cost and the lead times for windows in particular are pretty significant. So I wanted to make sure that you're aware of that, but Colliers will move forward with the bidding process because that's the only way we're going to be able to know exactly what those costs are. We only have independent cost estimates at this time.
There are several other discussion items. If anyone has any questions about the vendor report we have, budget transfer report, the overtime report, revenue report, the work order summary, or enrollment suspension, expulsion, absenteeism, truancy report. Seeing no questions on those reports, we'll move on to the superintendent's update.
So I'm very pleased to say that the robotics program, the after-school robotics program, is once again receiving the City Block Grant for $10,000. This is awesome because over the last several years that the robotics has been running under Verda Jones, many of you know, she's come and she's shared with the students their work. They have always been in the finals. And so we're, with another year coming, we're waiting on that funding and had reached out, and we just received a letter over the past day. And so we're really excited that that's going to continue. I also want to say that several of our schools in Rhode Island actually put in for Disney in the Classroom. If you remember last year, Disney in the Classroom, we put in for that for Baldwin. Baldwin did receive it. They went through a year 1. I went to the show at PPAC. It was phenomenal. And then Winters and Curvin put in for it this year. Only 5 are selected each year, and so we now have Baldwin, Winters, and Curvin that were selected to do with Disney in the classroom. So this will be exciting. They'll start in January. I don't know what productions they're doing, but we'll have 3 different productions to go to at PPAC at the end of the year, so that's exciting. I also want to give a shout out, to the residents for going and moving forward on the bond for the new high school. It's an exciting time, and we look forward to that. And lastly, happy Thanksgiving.
And now we have school committee member updates. Ms. Vanello.
Please go first. I think I'm first. Question, would you, for the next regular meeting, would you fluency onto it? Because I need more detail.
Oh, as a
agenda item.
okay.
In addition to the truancy.
Yeah. We have one truancy officer.
So you want to add, okay, so can we add a discussion item to truancy in district? No?
Yes. And aside from that, we have a wellness meeting. Tell me.
November 28th at 5:30?
28th. You're all welcome. I know some of you will be there. I appreciate it. And happy Thanksgiving. I appreciate everything that all of you have been doing. I know that we are still short-staffed. I know that we are still combining classrooms. I know that nurses are out, and we end up without nurses to take care of our kids. And everybody is kind of what would normally be helter-skelter is managed by all of you. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. That's, where other districts would not be able to handle such things. You're all picking up the pieces and making sure our kids are taken care of. And I can't tell you how grateful I am. So you have a reason to be thankful this Thanksgiving. I do too, in your. Thank you.
Mr. Sharma?
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Mr. Moreno?
Thank you.
So I also want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I also want I've been on this committee for 8 years with these 2 members here and Ms. Grant and Mr. Knight. Been around for a bit. But we over those 8 years, we've really we've seen bonds pass, and then we've delivered on them. We can look at 3 beautiful elementary schools that were gut remodels and rebuilds, but also look across our entire district at projects that have been done, health and safety, bathrooms, and other ways to make sure that we're saying to the voters, thank you for approving these bonds. We're going to make sure we deliver projects that are responsible to the taxpayers and making the buildings safe and beautiful for our students to learn in. So I'm once again thankful that the voters have approved this bond, and we are receiving of a letter from the mayor, who also echoes how grateful he is that we are in receipt of this bond, and he suggests that in collaboration we move forward
with establishing a project management committee consisting of himself, a member of the city council, a member of the school committee, to help manage and guide the project forward. I've already spoken with our facilities chair. I think that I think the idea of the three parties working together is obviously really important to move this forward. I think that it's important we make sure that the title actually reflects what the role of this committee would be, which would be more of a project liaison committee as opposed to a project management committee, because it's very important that we understand that we on the school committee need to be moving through the different stages of construction as in all of our projects, but also that there are some key parts that we need to work with the city on to ensure that this moves forward expeditiously and effectively. So I will plan to sit down with the mayor and the city council member to see if we're on the same page with this project liaison committee to ensure that communication is moving. I'm not on the facility subcommittee, so this would be more of making sure that we're coordinating, and then moving forward, we would establish if there needs to be more of a role from a facilities member. And so I just wanted to make sure that everyone's been discussing receipt of that letter, and we can definitely put it on future agendas if we want to talk about this more. Okay. So I think that's all I have. I was able to share this with Ms. Grant, but my youngest came home very excited because she said that her school was gonna, she called it United Sports, and it took me a while to understand what she was talking about, but she mentioned that she was going to be playing basketball with some special needs students at the school, and I know that this has been something we've done with our high schools and our middle schools. She was so excited. I know Ms. Grant will not be upset if I share that we were meeting when she found this out, and Ms. Grant had tears in her eyes when she heard about it, and it's wonderful that we are making sure that all of our students are feeling welcome, and that we're building community with all of our students. And that starts at the elementary school. So that is all for me. And happy Wednesday.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Motion to adjourn by Mr. Charbonneau, seconded by Mr. Marino, Ms. Manolo.